The popularity of craft beer in America has been surging since the 1970s, meanwhile expanding on quality, consistency, and innovation. According to Nobility.org, during an outbreak of the plague, a monk named Arnold, who had established a monastery in Oldenburg, persuaded people to drink beer in place of water, and when they did, the plague disappeared. Arnold spent his whole life warning people about the dangers of drinking water. Beer was safe. And from man's sweat and God's love, beer came into the world, he would say. St. Arnold was considered the patron saint of brewers. Within the past few years, I found myself not settling for the boring, bleak taste of cheap, light beer, but replacing it with full-flavored craft beers. It hasn't just been me making the same choice, though. All over the country, more and more people are choosing quality and taste over the cost and comforts of your go-to cheap light beer. And according to BrewersAssociation.org, craft brewers operate in 344 congressional districts, and the majority of Americans live within 10 miles of a brewery. So the number of craft breweries has gone from 8 in 1980 to over 2,800 in 2013, with more than 1,500 breweries currently in development. So whether or not you're deciding to jump on the craft beer train, or you haven't decided yet, it's going to affect you one way or another because it's all around us. So for those of you looking for a change in your normal adult beverage routine, I encourage you to take a leap of faith and try something new, something bold, something your tongue might find more interesting. And for those of you that have already stepped into this craft beer world, I'll try to inform you on the history and the specific types of craft beers. So first of all, I want to briefly review the history of craft beer, because I think it's important to know how we've gotten to this resurgence and who paved the way to the resurgence, and why craft beer is kind of taking over. Many point to Fritz Maytag as the father of modern microbreweries because of his revitalization of Anchor Brewing in 1965. And since then, more and more home breweries began popping up in the late 1970s and early 80s, gaining inspiration from the new Albion Brewery in Sonoma, California. Then, in the mid-90s, volume growth increased from 35% in 1991 to 58% in 1995, and continued at between 1 and 5% annual increase between 1997 and 2003, according to BrewersAssociation.org. So there's been a steady increase, and exponentially has gotten more and more popular since the late 90s until now. There's hundreds and hundreds of styles of different craft beers, different variations. Some of the most common ones are India Pale Ales, American Pale Ales, porters, lagers, sours, stouts, ciders. I've got 3 specific types of craft beer here that I'm going to allow you guys to taste. The first one's an American Pale Ale, which was developed around 1980 using American hops, typically Cascade hops specifically. This is an IPA, an India Pale Ale, which is a hoppy beer, and it's similar to the it's in the family of the Pale Ale. And then I have a porter, which is a darker, heavier beer that originated in London, and which is derived from the London port workers, which was this was their favorite style of beer. So port workers then became the porter of beer. So I'm going to pass these around and let you guys try them. The first one, again, an APA, American Pale Ale. The next one, an IPA, and the last, a porter. So just try them and get a sense of their taste and variety of flavors and what have you. And then you don't have to check it. And if I've checked all their IDs beforehand just to make sure that, because we don't want any underage drinkers here, and I promise that that's not what's going on. So the craft beer is it's kind of becoming a culture of its own. it's not just an indulgence of like quality tasting beer where people just kind of get together and look down on people that are drinking Bud Light, but it's like kind of like a cultural takeover where they're like involving local artists, and they're like sponsoring things to where they're getting the community involved so that the craft that the brewery is being more involved, and it's like almost a tourist attraction. People are coming to the breweries to see how it's made. It's a little bit more intricate of a process, so that's pretty cool compared to like corporate beer making, I guess. So yeah, they kind of take pride in where it's made, and they put it right there on the front of the can. So that's another good thing about craft beer. It's very prideful. But now that you've tasted a few craft beers, I hope that you can see the importance of knowing where it came from, and who kind of paved the way for microbreweries, and a little bit more attention to what goes into the beer. And I hope that you know a little bit more about the variations and the different types of craft beer and the history. So I would just like to take this time to say thank you. And this has been an awesome opportunity because it's the first class and teacher that I've been able to be in front of and drink beer at the same time. So thanks.